meeting to order. The municipality of Oakland-Wawanesa would like to acknowledge and recognize that we are operating on Treaty 1 and Treaty 2 lands, being the original territory of the Anishinaabe and the Dakota Nations and the homeland of the Métis Nation. First item is the adoption of the agenda. We resolved that the agenda for October 15th, 2024 meeting be accepted as presented. Somebody to move that. Gregor, second. Councilor McDonald. All in favor?
In favor.
Okay, turn it over to me momentarily. Okay, so welcome everyone to this evening's public hearing with respect to recreation services, as well as the collection and transportation of waste and recycling material. The purpose of these public hearings is not to debate whether council should or should not be paying into recreation or waste, or the amount that they're paying, but rather for the continuation of the special services levies for those services. Council's intent with respect to the special services is to provide relief for agricultural properties, as the agricultural properties have seen greater increases in assessment than any other classification. These special service levies were introduced 5 years ago as a result of the province discontinuing differential mill rates and requiring municipalities to utilize special services or local improvement levies if taxation was going to be done in any manner other than at-large mill rates. The recreation special services levy. For this levy, council has recognized that the property owners in Wawanesa receive the greatest benefit of the facilities located in the village, and as such, they pay a per parcel rate in addition to the mill rate portion of the levy. The costs not covered by the per parcel rate are then paid by mill rate, with agricultural lands covering 25% of costs and all other properties paying the remaining 75%. During the discussion under public hearings, it is anticipated that council will determine that farm residential assessment should be added to the all other properties category, as was done with the original special service levy. And if that is done, it would result in mill rate estimates in 2025 being 0.0 for agricultural property and 0.40 for all other properties. Those rates compare to 0.265 and 0.450 in 2024. Collection and transportation of waste and recycling. This levy is charged by per parcel rate only, with one rate for residential properties with no dwellings, and the remaining costs being calculated per parcel, with agricultural lands paying 15% and all other properties paying the remaining 85%. Based on the estimates for this service, the results of the per parcel rate for 2025 by mill rate from the per parcel based on the remaining costs would be $14.35 for ag properties and $101.84 for all other properties. Those rates compared to $16.13 and $98.31 in 2024. The steps going forward, including hearing and discussing any representation at the public hearing, considering the special levy bylaws for first reading, providing anyone in opposition the opportunity to appeal to the municipal board, and then awaiting a decision of the municipal board on whether or not a public hearing is required prior to the bylaws receiving third reading. And council will take any questions that you have as we get into the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Resolved that the special meeting of council, that the special meeting of council be recessed to allow council to hold a public hearing to receive representations from any person who wish to make them in respect to the continuation of their special services plan for recreation services. Can you please move that? Mr. Fisher, seconder, McGregor, all in favor?
In favor.
We are into the public hearing. Anybody wish to make their representation in regards to the recreation services, please feel free to let us know your name and your land description or address. Go ahead.
Patricia Warburton,
And as for my address, it's, there we go. Anyways, I just trying to fumble through everything and with the latest information regarding the farm residential assessment and all other properties. And it looks like it's going down the levy. In previous, now maybe I'm not understanding some other stuff correctly, but it sounded like you want to do 2% per year.
That was what's the old levy. We did it increase automatically.
That's not going to continue now, correct?
It will continue, but we're pulling it back to what the number should be because the 2% was over the amount.
Okay, because
So council will have the opportunity when they do budget deliberations to actually fix the number that they want for recreation. In previous years, there have been 2 years where the allocation under swimming pool materials wasn't utilized.
Right.
So over those years, it ended up with about $10,000 not having been spent. Council will have the opportunity to revisit that, and the ultimate mill rates will be determined by the budget.
so I think that's where my thoughts go, that building with the fund for future, but yet neglecting to acknowledge the excess of monies and grants and all that other kind of stuff that comes from that parcel. This is a time of inflation for families and seniors aging in place. And doing this, we contribute to inflation and we keep hammering the money. So I guess for a community that needs to thrive and survive throughout this time, to not contribute to home and food insecurities, I think when council does need to talk about the surplus of dollars and such, is that maybe we take a gentle approach for at least a year or two, just for that reason, because people are really struggling out there. And there's a lot of homeless now too, so we don't want to be part of it. Well, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further?
Yeah, my correct is Southeast 16818. A couple years ago, I made a bit of a comment. We were going through with the rink and et cetera for what. And comment, kind of one of the comments back is that for this swimming pool in town, and a hockey rink and things like that made the town more attractive for people want to relocate here, and also allowing, for a little higher prices for their homes because of the fact that there's more amenities here. That's a true statement.
Well, I think you always look at that. If you have all the facilities and that's your community looks more attractive and people will come and move there and take it, use this facility. We are. Will they increase house prices? No, nobody knows that for sure, but you presume that it will be because they're coming here for that reason. But they'll come to the municipality too as well. I mean, we've seen properties bought and sold around the area too. So
I just if that's being true, just kind of quickly looking over the numbers and the exact percentages, but it looks like it's about 1/3 of the cost is bared by the community of Wawanesa, with 2/3 being contributed from their work. Is that fairly close there when it's, I think it was 45 and 116 or something like that?
you have that calculation.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Just, I think you'll find it. It's not that far off. I didn't want to go in percentages out. I could have easily, but I didn't.
I don't, sorry to interrupt you. I don't know what the number is right now, but I know when we designed it the last time, the goal was 50-50. So I would have to look at the numbers, but I'd be surprised if it has changed up. Because that was feedback we got in a public hearing, to shift to 50-50 and we made that change. So
Looks like here it's 41,000 this town and anyway, plus of course we're paying another 59 something a month. This plant. Just that like there's a little confusion for everybody. The rural seems to be supporting the town, and here is, you know, I'm not going to speak for the committee, but I know there's if you're here, probably never darken the doorway of the rink. But they're paying for it, and if it's increasing the values of the property or the town is being more productive, seems like in a way you could easily see that the rural is supporting the town of Wawanesa. And 2/3 of the cost. Now, I could be off in my numbers, but you know, the way you want to calculate it out here, it did say what town is paying. But it's kind of a bit of a calculation to figure out what cost is that individuals are paying as a rural resident.
If it helps at all, the estimated cost of the recreation is about $116,000. There's $41,000 that comes off of that, that is the per parcel rate that is paid by Wawanesa residents only. And then the amount that's left is $74,875. That is divided out then with the recreation, the class 30, covering 25% of that, and all other properties covering the remaining 75%.
Class 30 is rural.
Yes.
Far from.
Not rural.
Yes.
Outside the limit of Oakland-Wawanesa.
Yeah.
So you divided the 41 into the 74, that's
But that's the per parcel though. That's only the first parcel. You don't have the assessed value in there.
So Mike, out of that remaining amount, Wawanesa residents also pay on mill rate. So that's 74,875.
I
A portion of
think
that is also paid by Wawanesa
certainly
residents.
easier for somebody to meet like me. If you had just the dollar cost, tell me what it's costing, you know, or if you want to go on your property, how much is it for every $100,000 you think your property is? Then you can see instead of this 0.02% of this and that,
Well, that's,
it's just a bunch of addressing here to make it work out into a. You
yeah,
know exactly what we're paying.
yes. We understand that. The thing is that as you mentioned, as property values come up, the assessment goes up on the property, and that changes those numbers on a yearly basis. So it's hard to identify an exact number on an ongoing basis.
You could come up with some kind of
Mike, do you know what it is on your current tax bill?
which is that the
Recreation.
Recreation.
was 90, just under $100.
It will
A couple
be,
of bucks, plus another 50. Base 97 for recreation and another 59.91 for the ice.
the 97 is what we're dealing with here, Mike, and this is intended to operate very much the same way as it is currently. So the amount you're paying right now will be about the amount that you pay going forward.
I got just that seems to be a little issues with the rural supporting, you know, I would bet that 95% of the people that go in and out of the rink pool are probably town residents.
Well, I can tell you this, that the student population is 200, a little over, well, 250 population, 147 are rural kids. Out of that 147 that are rural, they use the rink and the facilities when the gym isn't in use, et cetera, at the school. They go to the rink or use the other facilities that are available. They have the swimming lessons every year with the pool from all grades. So all those kids are in there as well. So it's used quite considerably by the rural. Over the past years, it's been even more. You take a look at senior curling or men's curling and women's curling, and we mixed. That has always been a lot of rural people that have been in that group. So we don't have cutoff lines as to what road or whatever the case might be. It's rural is rural. So we worked on these about 5 years ago. Now, the other option to do is to take it out of special levies and just do it as a at large, which will mean it'd just be on everybody's. Unless you have another plan that you can see that can be done.
User fees. If you want to pay for, if you want to use the facility, pay the cost.
Those are out there already. User fees are already in place.
To cover the cost.
Not to cover costs, no.
No, it was for the
Majority of it, the rink, to operate the rink is a little over $400,000.
Didn't see that number on the paperwork or something.
Well, it's not there. We're not discussing rink. This is the money we give. It's a grant is what we give to the, we don't operate the arena. We don't operate the pool. We don't operate any of those facilities as a municipality. That's all done by
But you-
individual boards.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, do you own the rink?
We own the rink, yes.
But you don't have anything to do with the operation?
No.
Well, who does the operation?
They have an individual board. The Souris River Rec Board operates the rink and the swimming pool and the other facilities.
So you're just handing them over the money?
And we have a counselor appointed to the board, which is me.
Yes.
The other point, just Mike, is don't forget that this is also supporting the Nesbitt Hall and the Carroll. So it isn't only supporting,
I did see that number, but for how small that number was, if you took 12 residents, they probably cover how much you give them. What do you give the Nesbitt Hall?
I think it's like $4,500 each one last time in the budget. Do you remember what the budget is? It says on it, on there. Do you have your grants there? It's approximately $4,500 per hall. Each one gets the same amount.
$150 or whatever is not gonna change my life any, but it's just, it seems like that there's a little bit of uncertainty when you read what things within the council here, Earl versus the town of Wawanesa. And it just like, kind of looked like to me that it was the numbers the way I worked and the information to give us, that the rural was supporting the town and, seemingly like that's something that's, you guys don't really want to hear. Anyway, I got the more to say.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm, Mr. Chairman, my name's Clay Laurie. That's northeast of 24/7/18, west of the Prime Meridian. As you can see, I got some gray hair here. This community, I love recreation. There's nothing better for a community than I'm here because I felt the subject is very important to a community. Now, I don't know if I'm on a procedure. The volunteer boards that used to be here, for each of our facilities are halls. Halls are still. I haven't been to a rec meeting, even know what the meetings annually.
third Monday of the month.
Third Monday of the month.
They are either here or at the rink. So if you want to come to one, and
To be on that. How do you get on that board?
it's a good group of volunteers.
So the chairman of the rec commission just asks people, is there so many rural supposed to be on it, so many town people supposed to be on it, so many council representatives supposed to be on it?
So there's counselors appointed from Oakland-Wawanesa and Glenrose. Two counselors that are appointed, the rest are volunteers. There are no stipulations around rural versus village. What we're finding is that people aren't knocking down the door to get on board. So, I can think off the top of my head there.
Knock, knock.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
The rink board, which I was part of. In fact, chairman is the one that got. Them. There used to be stipulation that there had to be so many rural representatives. so many town representatives, so many representatives from Riverside, so many representatives from Southside. What's what consisted of the board? So you got everybody's ideas. We're getting away from that, and it's with all this centralization of things, we're getting away from the people running their things. And that's sad. It's very sad. Now I'm getting off topic here. If you asked me to vote on that, same kind of ability as you, vote on that thing, oh, I would vote against it. And I'm voting for creation because I don't understand what's going on. And now, is that my fault? Somebody please fill me in, because the information is not like it used to be.
What information was given out earlier? When you're saying information was given, I'm not,
We had annual meetings every year,
they still have,
first week of May,
I don't know when it is.
for the rink.
Yeah.
Everybody knew when it was. Letters were sent to the councils to come to the meeting. That's how we did it. We had a budget, we had a budget review. You've seen a financial statement, we posted it in the paper. I've never seen a financial statement for the facilities at all.
Well, it's something you can take up with the facility, but that's a different than what.
So
What we're dealing with
This
here
is the
is.
second levy, though. This is the second term of the levy. This will be the second term. of the
Yeah, I second.
Why was the levy brought in to begin with?
Levy was to split it up so that it wouldn't be all one-sided. If you have it at large, you go by the mill rate on assessed value of property, it's going to be offset too much rural compared to Wawanesa. So what we did is at that time, we had the council of the day decided to put it into a special levy where we put more emphasis on the per parcel rate strictly for Wawanesa. So it would bring up the amount of money that's being spent on that facility or on the recreation to be more offset the 50-50 mark.
Okay, but what I'm asking is when did the facilities all start asking for money from the property?
Always had.
No, not when I was on the rink. We never got any money from the, nothing.
Believe there was a grant to pay the insurance of that.
No.
Okay, well, we just have to look back for a very long time, and you have been on the rink for that long.
Oh, yeah. It must be 20 years now. I did all the rink board stuff to you know, who the chairman. Handed it all. Anyway, when I was on council, was a brief time. The budget, and this was the RM council, Wawanesa council. When I was in the RM council, the budget for recreation was zero. $0. You look on their budget lines back, so it'd be 96 to 2000 or something like that. You look on their budget line from there, it was $0.
From Oakland.
But Wawanesa wasn't on their council. $0. When I was on the rink board, it was user pay. The user fees. We would go to the council, RMF Oakland council meetings, and we would say to them, we are not here for money for the council. We're here for capital projects, not for operation. We brought a budget. We did everything. By the way, your budget was great in 2022-23. Saw the numbers. You guys were bang on. You were predicting a 45% profit, and you made a 48%, 48,000, 45, not 45%, $45,000 profit. and you got a $48,000 from. Now you take off the levy of 37, whatever it was. The last levy, 37.6, is it? You made a profit of $8,000. That's great. When I was on the rink board, some years we'd make 3,000, some years we'd lose 4. It's user pay. And I know you guys don't know where the levies are going because that's to put it up to where they go. But what is that levy for if you're making $47,000?
I can tell you that it hasn't changed that much, Clay, because sometimes we make money and sometimes we lose money.
You wouldn't.
That's the way it goes.
That's the way I go. Great budgeting because I'm close. And like what does the rec commission do with the 37 levy? Like when you give the rink 37 something, right?
We give
The
the
rec commission does.
rec commission gets the funding.
And they give 37 something to the rink. The rink made 48. So what did they do with the 37?
It went into their, putting the ice plant in and everything else that goes up, updating.
No, I thought there was separate funding for the ice. We have 2 levies, don't we?
Well, that doesn't pay for the whole thing. I mean, they still do fundraising and everything else that they did for that.
But you got over $1 million fundraising.
Yes.
Yeah.
They did a very good job.
So the 37,000 went to the ice plant then?
No, not
Oh.
necessarily. Could go to any number of things in there. We
Do they
don't have criteria.
Savings?
The board is just in the process of investing money.
Okay. Well, I've spoken a lot and, I love this community. And I can't stand the rink being called the Wawanesa Arena. It should be the Wawanesa District Recreation Center, because that's what it was named to begin with. I see the Wawanesa Arena. And I was 12 years old putting things into the place when it was being built. My kids all played there. It's the Wawanesa District Recreation Center, not the Wawanesa Arena. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Donna McIntosh, I live on. I think that, I agree with saying that I think they feel, or maybe we feel, we kind of get a double whammy. I mean, I know where I live, and here's an example. I mean, my children are visiting, we pay in Brandon. So, I mean, and Mr. Fisher, you were shaking your head. No, it's not just village people. You know what? If you ask people in the court, shake your head. They don't come here. They go. So it depends where you want to ask people. Really, I mean, if you live close to, yeah, you're going to be using it, but the north is a high population of people, and we're paying taxes. I mean, that's the way we see it, because we are.
You're paying taxes in Brandon?
No, I never said I was paying taxes in Brandon. If I want to use recreation, if I want to go swimming or whatever, I pay.
Those
Okay.
facilities are taxpayer funded as well.
But I pay to go in. So I don't even know anybody. So it's nothing anybody to do with anybody in what we said. That it's too far to come. Where a high number of people live. So some people feel it's unimportant to pay both. And I feel sorry for people that have kids in the north. It would be.
I think there's maybe a little bit of fallacy here. Just because the Wawanesa people pay it on their taxes, they still pay for go swimming. People swimming here. So they pay, if they want to get either a season pass or whatever to go. Same thing, they pay for hockey registrations, they pay for ringette, they pay for all those and curling, et cetera. So they still pay a user fee.
Okay.
outside of that, wasn't about that.
So what do you charge the school division? You say there's a whole pile of kids from the school and go to the rink. What do you charge them to go skating?
They don't pay much to go skating, as far as if they just go in on off hours, but if they pay for swimming lessons, they do pay for swimming lessons. Everybody pays it, the rural and the town kids both pay for swimming lessons out of the school. I'm sorry, Donna?
Well, I guess maybe I would just like to know an example. Be there.
Right.
So what would it be here for a user fee? Like, I don't know, because I've never been.
I haven't either.
I don't know.
Here. In Wawanesa.
I don't know off the top of my head. I can see if I can find it while we're talking. but-
Because I honestly.
Students pay $5, and I'm pretty sure adults pay either 6 or 7. And that's for a 3 or 4 hour window. You don't get to be there all day. There are certain hour windows for that.
Is it? Like, is it? It's rare.
Not by us, anyway.
Outside of this subsidy, like this, that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Recreation around the province is. Like, just for interest, I ran some numbers today, and that's okay to show them, so. Look to see what percentage of the budget, recreation and culture forms in our municipality compared to others. So Cornwallis is 2.2%. Oakland-Wawanesa is 3.9%. Land is 8.3%. Boys Van Morton is 8.3%, and Surrey Glenwood is 16.95%. Recreation is getting subsidized everywhere around the province, folks. We are not subsidizing recreation at some outlandish rate here.
When I was on council, Glenwood was the third highest.
Their budget's, I think, close to $1 million for recreation.
I just have this worry. that maybe it's just me not knowing, but the amount of money that goes to recreation has to represent the people.
Right.
Now, if it doesn't represent the people, like when did Nesbitt decide to get rid of their rink? What made them decide to get rid of their rink?
What do you?
There's gonna be a time, and I hope it never happens, but there's gonna be a time where Wawanesa's facilities are gonna be at that.
Can be. Everything has a best before date
Yeah,
in this work.
and if you're not looking at those, if you're only looking for a number of money to give to something so that it's there, but nobody's using it, you gotta figure that, you gotta get those demographics. You gotta get those demographics, and if the rec commission has them, I will be happy to have them put to me. Like
What demographic you want?
the amount of rural people using the rink, the amount of town people using the rink, the amount of I can't remember the name of that RM now. Is it still South Cyprus?
Glenbrook, South Cyprus.
Glenbrook, South Cyprus, the amount of Glenbrook, South Cyprus people using the rink, the amount of, is it grasslands?
Prairie Lakes.
Prairie Lakes using the rink. That's the district in that name, Wawanesa district.
Yeah, I think when you go with this, and then we're going back to what the previous person was speaking about, going to Brandon. Brandon people have that situation as well. There's a pile of people around the city of Brandon go to the Keystone Center, the Sportsplex, and so on.
Sportsplex is gone for hockey.
Well,
What made them get rid of it?
ice plant. They're putting a new ice plant in. They've decided they're gonna put a new one in. So they're gonna have that expenditure going out, and it's gonna be paid by the citizens of Brandon. So the people outside of the city of Brandon aren't paying for that, but they can use the
They can
facility.
donate to it, like people outside of Wawanesa donated to the Wawanesa.
Recreation is very, very important to children. Number one, you have to have recreation for children, and that's why it's very important to keep it going. Is it outlandish number to put $100,000 into recreation? It's not even 100,000. It's
Well, what is that cutoff number gonna be if you have 50 kids? Like, I don't know what minor sports is. It was 50 kids, 55 kids when I was involved. So what's gonna be the 10 kids? There's 10 kids that use the rink. Is that gonna be the end of the rink?
well, that's to be determined. I think that's outside of what we're doing. What this is all about here is to do these special, like, not into the discussion of how the rink is going to operate or that kind of thing. We give them much.
But it's giving money to something that has to be used by the people that you're taking the money from.
Well, that goes to that facility. Again, I mentioned, I go back to the Brandon one. You got the Sportsplex, you got the Keystone Center. People go there to watch the weekends. They go there to skate. They go in there for all kinds of benefits. They don't always pay taxation on it. They just pay a fee to go in.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with these other places. They have their recreation they're paying for out of their own districts, as Councilor McGregor has pointed out. So there's no sure way to come across, so.
The other thing, Clay, is it's not just about the rain, right? Like,
No, I know. I'm just speaking to what. It has to do with the halls, the pool,
yeah, but the rec commission also runs the soccer program in Nesbitt.
yeah,
This summer, there was day camps,
yeah,
for kids, the pottery classes.
yeah.
Like, it's not just about facilities in Wawanesa, it's about programs.
It could be about horseback riding.
Yeah.
If there was a group from, and I'm sure there is a group that does horseback trail rides and things, it could be about that.
Go ahead.
Question. McGregor just mentioned that there's a counselor from Gumbo Cypress on the record. I wasn't aware of that, but does, just leading on from that, does Gumbo Cypress contribute towards the rink?
Yes,
They do a grant towards the facility?
towards the rec commission.
What does that amount to?
I don't like giving numbers off the top of my head, Mr. Rome, but I think it's about $6,500 per year. Something like that, $7,500
a year.
$7,500, something like that.
If you look at the proximity to Gumbo Cypress and the number of families that I'm aware of that have been regular rink users for years and years and years, there's probably as many, if not more, from Gumbo Cypress that have used the facility as opposed to Oakland. And so 6,500 is pretty.
More than Oakland? We're completely surrounded by it. How could that be?
Not really, that's right. We're almost on the border. If you look at the Everards, the Cullens, the Friesens, the Flets, the Shears, they're all in Cypress. And I'm missing lots of them, but I'm just saying, like, 6,500 isn't much coming to Cypress. That was my question and my observation.
Yeah, and we don't give any money to Brandon. For people from the north that go to Brandon to use the sportsplex, we don't give them any funding. They haven't asked for any. We're not going to give any.
No, the Brandon fees are substantially higher for ice costs.
But if
they're
there's
substantially higher.
But if you're talking about individuals using it compared to this,
Yeah, so the user fees are higher than the fee in here. So they,
yes,
I guess the other comment I might want to make is that it seems like this stuff is only for hockey, swimming, curling, and now a little bit of soccer. We fall out of that realm of activity. We pay the full price.
well, there's,
I know I do anyway.
Yeah.
I know the judo club in Brandon and the jiu-jitsu club,
We-
they don't get a nickel. We pay the full shot. So I guess I feel like I'm getting a double whammy when I go to the clubs there. I gotta pay the full shot, plus I gotta pay here for the swimming and the hockey and the
Sure.
curling and the soccer and that. So
There's,
I don't think it's divvied up quite fair then.
there's a number of programs here. I'm not gonna get into all because I don't know what else Sewers River Rec does. I see them from yoga to whatever else they have available. Individuals from all over the municipality, but I don't know their exact amount but I do know it goes beyond hockey and swimming. Do know that. Where's our library? Does that come out of our recreation budget?
The library grant comes out of your general grants.
If it happens,
Set up judo, Mike, if you want to set up judo.
24 mats in my basement. I'm sure I don't know if I could talk Vern to come back.
Lois Hunter, 109-084. I just don't agree with this recreation whatsoever. We live on Lake Clemente. All the children in our area all go to the city of Brandon. Not sure why we pay for Wawanesa to come to Wawanesa. We don't have any services out of that whatsoever. I think that in this day and age, when everything is tight, the economy's tight, why are we putting a levy on when we don't really know what the money's gonna be needed for? You just said you had $48,000 revenue in your,
I said that.
in the ice, yeah. The
Based off,
revenue there, what
based
are
off
you getting?
22-23. Year 22-23. They had losses, consecutive losses up to. But that year they had $8,000. Without the special levy, they would have $8,000 to the good.
So why would they need a special levy to get them in this?
I don't know, but they're putting it away somewhere. Hopefully.
But
There's years that are lost.
Yeah.
the other side of the coin is, I know when I worked at a facility in the city of Brandon, the hockey players came out to Brandon to practice. And it was cheaper to rent a bus and pay the ice rental in Wawanesa than it was to rent it in Brandon. Therefore, I think that your ice facility, your rink needs to increase its fees, and I think that it should become a user fee. And I don't think taxpayers should be paying.
That's the way it always was.
So I guess I'd ask a question. So you say you use Brandon facilities quite substantially. Should we draw a line at some line and start paying Brandon facilities?
Pardon me?
If you're saying that the Northwest Ward is using Brandon more than us, Wawanesa, for instance, then should we draw a line at a certain line like Tower Road North should be paying for tax?
Well, you're gonna have to do the same thing for sewers. I'm sure
Yeah.
there's people who live by sewer.
Yeah.
I would say if you want a recreation, it's the people that live in Wawanesa.
Okay,
Like, how many children go to school in Wawanesa that are farm children?
147 out of 250.
Okay, so maybe you need to increase your levy to the school division. If they want to use their gym in summer or in fall when it's cold, or go outside. I mean, there's lots of schools that do that.
Okay.
If you don't have a gym in your school, then you have to figure out your gym.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, the can, like, maybe, that 147 rural kids?
Yes.
That all are in Oakland?
No.
Or is that, yeah, that's what. Some of that's South Side, right?
That could be, yeah, could be some of there, yeah. Could be some from,
Years.
That's not really fair that all the rural people are paying for 147 children that aren't really the RM of Oakland, Wawanesa children.
yeah, and I think it's fair to note that we had, when the special levies first were put on 4 years ago? 5 years. We had, there's a lot of people that wrote in against it and it went to the municipal board. The municipal board had a hearing here, which everybody put that kind of information to them. And they ruled that these are fair. So that's the municipal board. They know that looking at all these different communities, different municipalities, they weigh that out. I think there's some people here who came and put submissions into the municipal board that are at this meeting right now. 5 years ago, and municipal board heard it, and not to say that you shouldn't put one in now. You wish you want to put it into municipal board, that should be your opinion. Okay. Anything further?
I just have one quick question. So the excess funds, if you don't use them, then does it stay in recreation? Or do you move it into the general revenue?
It would go into general revenue at the year end.
That's not really proper then, because we paid through the levies for it to be for recreation. And even though it's sitting there in the bank there, I think it's proper it could be used for anything outside of recreation then. But that doesn't make sense to me. You're gathering for recreation, you have a surplus, it should be held there and not put into a general fund where you can draw it for anything. Just a thought, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Good. As an extra tax.
I'd like to, go back just a few years because like Clay, I'm a little gray on top as well. And I grew up here all my life. There used to be people from Ronthwaite and Northwest that all used to come here and curl. Their kids used to come here and play hockey. Bill Granger and Andrew Granger, and they came here and participated in pretty near all the sports. There was two full teams in curling that came off the Trees Bank Road for years and years and years. This arena that was in this town was one of only 3 in the province that was funded strictly by user fees. And the volunteer base absolutely wore right out. And that's why the rec commission was started. Because they basically threw up their hands. They couldn't keep the doors open any longer with just user fees. And so they went on the tax roll. And that's why. It's not that I live here, but no, Donna, there is a lot of rural kids out there that still participate in the arena.
I'm sure there are, and you know what, that my point was that there are families out there that have kids that maybe can't afford this, and what about those kids? So, well, it's just, we talk about the kids a lot, recreation is important, it is, but it also has to be affordable. That's fine.
But there is kids sport and there's other programs to help assist kids that can't afford every day, what we call sports. So, and then there's some kids that are paying elitism that are going to the new arena and hockey camp in Brandon. They're going to the baseball, whatever, at the old Brandon Curling Club. And they're there and they're paying through the nose. And those were all, well, except Jameson Judd, their arena is paid by itself, isn't it? It's not on the tax roll, so.
I think we just have to be careful, Mr. Fisher, of the haves and the have-nots. Many people are struggling right now to put food on the table. Not everybody's that fortunate, so we don't need to have that really magnified more. I think it's important to know that, yes, recreation is important. Kids need to have outlets, but it has to be affordable. Lots of little Johnnies can't put skates on.
I just want to know how you came up with that number. Like, and why you came up.
Which number are you talking
For the
about?
levies. It was, there was no
It's
levy.
just splitting up
There was no levy.
but it came up with a
There
dollar
was
amount.
no.
There has been for a long time, Clay, is all.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Not sure.
Yeah,
But I want.
I would challenge anybody in this room to come up with another municipality in this province or in any province in Canada that doesn't pay recreation. Any municipality.
The only one that was, I knew of was the RM.
And they were an insult, right? It belonged to Oakland. And that was an insult what they gave for recreation for years.
Hey,
We're
you
getting,
don't. If you looked at the budget line for recreation, that is an insult. If you looked at what they gave to facilities, you wouldn't be insulted.
No, I know.
Anyway,
Okay.
this is getting away from what this is all about. So let's get back on course here as far as the special levies go.
But can I make a recommendation that you're going to do this special levy, that funds stay in the special levy and the money cannot be transferred to general revenue? I think everybody would feel better about it. If we knew it's gonna stay in recreation and not go into the general coffers of the municipality.
You want to make that for me? That's fine.
We'd have to check with the auditors because all taxation that comes in goes into general funds first. So we'd have to check and see what they would recommend to do that, but we can look into that.
Anything further? Okay, whereas all representatives in regard to the continuation of the special services plan for recreation services have been dealt with, therefore be it resolved the public hearing be concluded and council resume its normal order of business. We conclude that. Second, Councilor Fisher, all in favor?
Or
Thank you. Okay, be it resolved that the special meeting of council be recessed to allow council to hold a public hearing to receive representations from any person who wish to make them in respect to the continuation of special services plan for the collecting and transporting of waste and recycling materials. Please move that. McDonald, second, Councilor McGregor, all in favor?
in favor.
Can I excuse myself from the meeting? Thank you.
Like, your coat.
Okay, anybody wish to make representation as far as the special levies on waste collection and recycling?
Hey, I just have a question about this thing. I'm just curious to know, like, say box board and stuff like that gets wired up and but does the RM receive any funds for it?
For box, just for box, you mean? Or
Well, just for any of the recycling? 'Cause
Yes,
how
we
you
do. Yes, a substantial amount of money.
Yes, so can you give an idea how much, just?
Yeah, and that comes off of the amount that, so that we have a total amount of what it cost us, and we take that off of that amount to come up with one number in the special levy. She'll have it here.
You like to set the time where sure it's calculated out there. Revenues for recycling in 2025 are estimated at $44,390.
So I'm sorry, that is after, the expenses and,
No, that's what we get, what they give us money back. So we ship it off and then they give us to get that paid for the province. So
okay,
So the total budget for waste and recycling is just over 139,000. We subtract the amount that we get for revenue of 44,000, so that leaves the amount to be raised by taxation of 95,000.
okay. My thoughts just went with, say, money like that. I just thought maybe in the first place, something like that could avoid a levy. And that money could go to recreation.
well, it's a separate item. And again, this isn't, it's taken out of the budget.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, there is money given back for that. I understand you scrapped it off. But I'm just thinking, like, there's the two transportation transfer.
Yes.
I mean, either one here could go for recreation here and the one for rural could go for the halls. Like, I'm just saying, it's just a thought.
Yes.
The recycle, that includes fuel too? Or
No,
that's separate again?
that's separate.
What money they get on that?
That's part of the revenue. I don't know that 44,000 be strictly recycling. I think the metal could be in there as well.
Okay.
And the revenue side, because that goes into revenue. And it's
I know,
pretty good value.
I know Oakland's got quite a bit of part of the recycle too.
Is there any, plans that the recycling to deal with used oil? I know, probably coming up 20 years ago, I'm Park and I lived at Clear Lake. Had a recycling where you could take your used oil to there and, they collected it there. Is there, you know, it's,
We used to have once a year, we used to have the, what do they call that? Hazardous material. We used to have once a year, we go joint with Glenboro South Cypress. Now, we haven't had that for a couple of years, but it's only once a year that we can do that. And we just do it as all household waste.
yeah, but that's more of a chemical waste, I think, than a, used oil. And of course, that's gonna be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, we don't, it's not allowed within our waste transfer station at this time.
I get, from Notre Dame, they come and get all my used oil about twice a year. I put it in a tote and they come and pump it out and they take all the filters as well. And they pay me for the oil. And I just basically donate or give them the used filters. So I have a couple of barrels of used filters because I got 11, 12 tractors and trucks.
Exactly, yeah, not.
Yeah, but I do have about 2 totes per year that I sell back to Notre Dame.
You're not gonna come to my place for 10 gallons of used oil.
You can bring it to my place and put it in my tank. More than willing to let you help, so. And there is a lot of farmers that do that, so. And it works very, very well. They supply you with the totes and everything else, so. And you just phone them and they're there within the week and they pump them out. And there you can start putting used oil in again.
You were saying, Dave, it's not allowed at the waste transfer stations?
Yeah, we don't have no used oil that's allowed. Yeah,
We do?
no, we wouldn't.
We are not licensed as a landfill. We are only licensed as a waste transfer, so we are very limited with what can be taken at the, yeah.
So that's actually a transfer thing though, like that oil is transferred out of there when the tote's full. So it might be something to consider, because I'm sure Notre Dame was supplied to the municipality and do the same thing.
Yeah.
I've never asked of you. No,
But again,
again,
it's not going in the ground as if.
it's on my phone. I can phone for tomorrow morning and ask, so.
Well,
It
it just,
isn't so
just-
much whether
we
or not.
have-
Notre
there's
Dame would do it,
regulations.
It's whether it would meet the
we
regulations.
have regulations that we have to deal with provincial government with the waste transfer stations. So
Well, this would be probably a containment.
Yeah, you're gonna get into cost of containment and potential spill hazard.
we're gonna have special areas for it and so on.
I know.
So it's just not that quite that simple, but we'll look.
I just know we had one when I was a resident. And that's, say, 20 years ago, it's already are doing that.
Are you planning to have a recycle campaign to really encourage people to recycle so we get more money coming in?
We've been doing that for a long time, trying to promote
We
it
need to
and,
dress it up a little.
well, yeah, it's there, but we're in one of the higher percentage of recycling around province. We get those stats all the time. I was surprised to see how large we are as far as recycling goes. So we have, people do want to recycle, so it's a good thing. Okay. Anything else? Okay, whereas all representatives in regard to the continuation of special services plan for the collecting and transporting of waste and recycling materials have been dealt with. Therefore, be it resolved that the public hearing be concluded and council resume its normal order of business. Need to move that. Here, second, Councillor Jones. Favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw number 43-2024, being a special services bylaw for recreational services, be read a first time.
Could I ask before council moves into that, if council's intent under the recreation was to in fact move the farm residential into the all other properties?
Want a resolution? Bill?
I just want an indication on the table. I know that discussion has already taken place.
Yes.
So yes, that was the intent.
That would make it the same as what it was before, so.
That is the way the bylaw is now currently written.
Be resolved that bylaw number 43-2024 being a special services bylaw for recreation service be read at first. Move that. Gregor seconder. Counselor Fisher, with no discussion on our first reading. All in favor?
In favor.
Opposed?
You voted.
I voted. Okay, I didn't see it. Okay, bylaw number 44-2024 being a special services bylaw for the collecting and transporting of waste and recycling materials be read a first time. Somebody move that. McDonald, seconder. Councilor McGregor. All in first reading discussion, all in favor?
In favor.
Be it resolved that the meeting does not adjourn.
31.
Somebody move that. Councilor Fisher, seconder. Councilor McDonald, all in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Hatt, for joining us.